Hey YouTube, welcome to another video from SkinnyMedic. I want to do a video talking about a Celox Gauze roll. This stuff's expensive, so I know you don't want to open up yours that you've bought. So I've opened up one. I'm going to show you what it looks like, how to use it, and how it works. This is the package that it comes in. It is sealed. This is sterile until the moment you open it up. On the back side here, it does have directions in case in the moment you panic and you don't remember how to pack the wound or what you're doing with this. So it does have directions. You will note here that it does have an expiration date on the package. I know that the website says they're good for 3 years once the point of manufacturing. So these do have an expiration date. I know people that have used them past the expiration date. I wouldn't recommend it. If it's your life on the line, you want to use the best. So just so you know that this does have an expiration date. You're going to use this Celox roll for major hemorrhage, major bleeding. Yes, you could technically use it for minor injuries, but it's awful expensive to use for a paper cut. So this is going to be for major injuries. It has the hemostatic agent, so it's going to help with the clotting process. And what it does, the hemostatic agent, once it comes in contact with blood, swells and expands. That's going to help the clotting process. And that's what we're doing, is trying to build a clot so the bleeding stops. So not only does the hemostatic agent help with the clotting process, so does the gauze. Everything's helping to try to build a clot. Try to build one big clot to stop the major bleeding from continuing before you bleed out. Remember that if you do have an injury to the femoral artery, it takes about 3 minutes for you to completely bleed out. The femoral artery is about the size of your thumb, so that's a pretty big hose pipe. The hemostatic agent is actually bound to the gauze. I don't know if you can see it, picks up on camera, but you can see little specks, and if I move it around, you can see them fall off. In the process of the hemostatic agent coming in contact with blood, swelling, and helping create the clot, it does not cause any heat. Unlike quick clot, it does produce some mild heat. The first generation quick clot created a lot of heat. Now the new generation does do some heat, but not enough to cause any serious burns. But this does not create any heat at all. I've zoomed in on this PowerPoint to show you what I mean when I say to pack a wound. You can see here we have the cavity that's been created by the penetrating trauma, whether that be a knife wound, a gunshot wound, IED, whatever caused the trauma. Penetrating trauma has created a cavity here. So if all we're doing is putting a bandage on the top, we're not completely stopping blood flow beneath the bottom of the surface here. It's in this cavity. So you put a bandage on top here, you still have this gaping wound down at the bottom. So you've got to be able to find the source of the bleeding and then insert the gauze into the cavity. You pack it completely full until it's overflowing out the top, what we're seeing here. Then once you put your pressure bandage on over top of this, then this presses down and you're putting pressure at the source of the bleeding. To kind of help demonstrate this is if you take this finger and you're going to stick it in the wound. Now your patient, your buddy, your partner is really not going to like you very much, but you've got to put the finger on the source of the bleeding. You've got to be able to feel it. Sometimes you can feel the artery actually pulsating. So if you stick this finger into your patient's injury, then take the roll here, insert it into the wound. You've got to be able to keep constant pressure on the artery that you're trying to stop bleeding. So then take another roll of it, push it down in there. It gives you some more. Keep pushing. Okay? And it takes a little bit of practice, but you've got to be able to keep constant pressure on the injury. Once you get this, you've got the cavity completely filled and it's bulging up. That's when put direct pressure and hold it for 3 minutes. If it bleeds through, then we would unpack the wound, pack more on, hold it for 3 minutes, and then that's when we'd put the pressure bandage on to help hold pressure. If you have major bleeding, they don't recommend removing the Celox once you have bleeding controlled until you can get to somewhere they have surgery. But if it's minor bleeding, then they say you can wait 10 minutes and you can remove this. Once you have bleeding control, wait 10 minutes and you can remove it. Once you remove it, irrigate the site with some normal saline to flush it out. The actual hemostatic agent, if there's any left in the body, will actually be broken down into basic sugars, which the body would absorb and use. So it's non-toxic to the body if there's any actual granulars of Celox left in there. Thank you for watching. You never know when you'll be the first responder.